parler avec Monsieur Troy Landry, peut-être un des Cajuns, un des Louisianais les plus célèbres en ce moment en français cajun. Bonjour.
Bonjour, comment ça va?
Ça va très
For more than 3 decades, Troy Landry stood as the living symbol of the American swamp, a man carved from mud, water, and survival. His voice echoed through living rooms, his battle cry becoming a promise of honesty to millions watching swamp people. He wasn't just a television star. He was trust. He was tradition. He was a father teaching his sons the only life he claimed to know. But sometimes, the strongest images hide the deepest cracks. Behind the fearless hunter was a man carrying a secret heavy enough to break him. For 30 years, Troy Landry lived a double life, loving 2 worlds, lying to both. And now, the truth has surfaced, painful, devastating, and impossible to ignore. Those closest to Troy Landry had always felt something they couldn't quite explain, a distance that came and went, moments when his eyes drifted away mid-conversation as if part of him had slipped into another life entirely. His wife, Bernita Landry, noticed it first, the phone calls that made Troy walk deep into the swamp, lowering his voice until it was barely audible. When he returned, the easy smile was gone, replaced by something heavier, something burdened. Their sons, Jacob Landry and Chase Landry, grew up watching their father disappear for days at a time, with explanations that never quite felt complete. Weekend scouting trips, business meetings that stretched too long, a storage unit across parish lines that no one else could access. They weren't accusations, just shadows hovering at the edge of understanding. Even the crew from Swamp People noticed inconsistencies. A second phone Troy never seemed to put down. Conversations that stopped the moment someone walked within earshot. Days when his enthusiasm felt forced. But Troy was a master of deflection. He laughed it off. He redirected with stories about massive gators and close calls in the swamp. And for 30 years, it worked. Until it didn't. Because Troy Landry wasn't just living one life. He was living 2. The whispers began in Brobridge, a quiet Louisiana town nearly 40 miles from the Landry family home, a place easy to disappear into. Back in 1993, Troy met Marie Thibodeau at a crawfish festival. She was a school teacher, intelligent, soft-spoken, with roots as deep in Louisiana soil as his own. Marie knew Troy was married. He never hid that. But what began as a casual conversation turned into something neither expected, and one moment of weakness changed everything. That same year, Marie became pregnant. The news struck Troy like a hurricane. He faced an impossible choice: walk away and abandon a child, or stay and betray his family. Troy chose betrayal, believing he could somehow carry both lives without letting them collide. In January of 1994, a daughter named Camille was born. Troy held her for the first time in a hospital room where no one knew his name, where fame meant nothing, where he could simply be a father. From that moment on, Troy became 2 men. For the next 30 years, he lived in constant rotation, providing quietly, visiting secretly, driving to Brobridge twice a month, carefully timing every visit around filming schedules and family obligations back home. He sat in the back row at Camille's school plays, avoiding conversation. He taught her to fish in secluded bayous where no one would recognize him. Marie Thibodeau never asked Troy to leave Bernita Landry. She understood the impossible position they'd created and accepted life in the shadows. But shadows come with a cost. Troy missed birthdays, holidays belonged to his other family. Camille grew up knowing her father always had to leave before sunrise, always just out of reach. Back home, Bernita slept beside a man carrying the weight of an entire hidden existence. The deception required perfection, separate accounts, shell companies, a post office box in another parish. Troy became an expert at compartmentalizing, shutting down one heart before opening the other. But the body remembers what the mind tries to bury. By his late 40s, Troy began suffering panic attacks. He woke drenched in sweat, dreaming that both families were in the same room demanding answers he couldn't give. The guilt was relentless. He loved both families, and loving both made the deception even more painful.
While America believed Troy was scraping by on seasonal hunting income, another truth existed, one far more shocking. Behind the muddy boots and torn jeans was a shrewd businessman. Troy Landry had quietly built a financial empire. Real estate investments across multiple parishes, 17 rental properties, commercial buildings in Lafayette and Baton Rouge, stakes in the crawfish industry, maritime transport along the intercoastal waterway, and even a boutique hotel in the New Orleans French Quarter. Millions of dollars, completely invisible. His father had taught him a single rule: visible wealth makes you a target, invisible wealth makes you powerful. So Troy stayed humble. Same trucks, same clothes, same modest home. And that hidden fortune made his double life possible. Marie's house, Camille's schooling, medical bills, cars, and daily expenses, all funded through trusts and shell companies designed to never lead back to him. Only one man knew the full truth: Troy's accountant, Gerald Broussard. Even that fortress of secrecy couldn't protect him forever. On the morning of March 15th, something went wrong in the swamp. Troy felt numbness crawl down his arm, pressure tightened around his chest, sweat poured down his face despite the cool air of the Atchafalaya Basin. Alone, miles from help, he knew what was happening. His family history was catching up to him. He barely made it back. Before calling his wife, Troy made another call to Marie Thibodeau. An ambulance rushed him to the regional medical center in Lafayette. Bernita Landry arrived frantic and terrified. Minutes later, Marie arrived too. 2 women, 1 man, 1 truth on the verge of exposure. Doctors confirmed a massive heart attack, emergency surgery, no guarantees. Before being taken in, Troy asked to see both women together, and in 15 minutes, 30 years of lies collapsed. He told Bernita everything: Marie, Camille, the money, the double life. Bernita stood frozen as her marriage shattered. Marie wept quietly, the secret finally spoken aloud. Troy survived the surgery, but survival was only the beginning. Jacob Landry and Chase Landry learned they had a sister, and in that single moment, their entire understanding of family was rewritten. Decades of memory shifted under the weight of a truth they never saw coming. Weeks later, the first family meeting unfolded inside a cold, sterile conference room in Lafayette, a place chosen not for comfort, but for control. Documents were spread across the table, each page stripping away another layer of illusion. The numbers were impossible to ignore, a net worth exceeding $7 million. Bernita Landry's grief turned into quiet fury as she realized how many years of struggle, sacrifice, and worry had never been necessary. When Jacob finally spoke, his voice cracked under the pressure of betrayal. He asked one simple question that carried decades of hurt: "How could you?" Troy Landry didn't deflect this time. He answered everything. No excuses, no defenses, only regret. Camille sat in silence, tears streaming down her face, apologizing for a life she never chose, for a truth she had been born into. For the first time, everything was exposed, ugly, painful, and undeniable. Troy moved out soon after. The family fractured in ways cameras could never fully capture. Filming for Swamp People continued, but something essential was missing. Viewers noticed it immediately. The laughter felt forced. The chemistry was gone. Eventually, Troy chose to speak publicly, and the story ignited fierce debate, sympathy, condemnation, judgment from every corner. His image never recovered. Yet in the wreckage, something unexpected emerged. Marie no longer had to hide. Jacob and Chase slowly began to know their sister. Bernita and Marie spoke, not as rivals, but as women wounded by the same lie. And Troy finally began therapy, confronting not just what he'd done, but why. The swamp taught Troy Landry how to survive, but life taught him something far harder. Secrets never stay buried. When they rise, they destroy everything false in their path. Troy learned the price of living as two men and the fragile hope of becoming one.